92 points to 7. That's the kind of scoreline you don't see every day. That was a wee bit of a hiding, that one. I've just got back from Hamilton where the game was. I went down with my wife to watch the game. And 92-7. It was always predicted to be a pretty one-sided affair. I think 30-40 points was the prediction with the bookies and with Rugby Forecast. But yowza. That's quite the scoreline. I'm not quite sure. I mean, how much value you get out of this in terms of preparation for the World Cup. For the All Blacks, it was like they mentioned it on the radio that I was listening to at the game. It was becoming a bit of an opposed training run, and it certainly hasn't done the Tongan guys any good. Some guys had, their willpower or motivation or whatever it be kind of being sapped as the game went on. So it's not done them any good, but it doesn't come much harder than the All Blacks in New Zealand. So I guess if there's a bright side, it's that it's only going to get easier from here. So 92 points to 7. I took a little notepad, so I'll read out some of the things that I wrote down during the game. All Blacks threatened early with a little chip through, but it didn't take long for them to score. Reece got the first try. It was 9 minutes. All Blacks win a few phases. He had a little stutter step on Pietau. It was 7-zip. Xavier got a turnover on 13 minutes. Ben Smith, or maybe it was 15. The stadium clock seems different from the one that's on the scoreboard anyway. He gets the turnover. Ben Smith, who made the tackle initially, gets the ball, goes like 70-odd metres for a try, which was quite a pity because Tonga at that point were just starting to build a few phases. And that's not what you need as the All Blacks going almost length of the field to score. So it's 14-zip. 19 minutes, Taylor gets a try. It's a bit messy. Tonga almost get an intercept in the lead up to that one as well. But not to be, and it's 21-0. George Brish gets the first of 4 tries for him. 27 minutes, that time matches up. From a line out, a maul, ball gets out wide, it's good passing, they missed the conversion. It's 26-0. Reed gets his try on 30, is it the same? 33 minutes there, 32 minutes on my one. Okay, so about the same. It was Xavier down the right wing, and then Reed managed to be the recipient of the final pass. So 33 points to 0. It was interesting as well because as the All Blacks were clearly in front, a couple of things started to happen, and one of them was the Tongan guys. I mean, naturally you start to, I guess, I don't want to call it relax, but it's at least your heart goes out of the game a little bit. It can't not do that. It's just a human thing. And the All Blacks guys were perhaps taking quicker opportunities rather than going for set pieces and whatnot where they would normally. So they're taking a lot of quick taps. Perenara got his try from one of those. It was not long after a quick tap. Reece with the good offload. They converted it, made it 40-zip. Ben Smith got a second try. 38 minutes. Turnover ball again. And he had a good little fend as well to make it 47-0. And not to be done before halftime, Crotty got his try. Xavier showed some wicked gas. I think it was to Reece and then to Crotty, 54-0. That's how it was at halftime. 54-0. What do you say to your players at halftime if the score's 52-0? 54-0 and you're the Tongan coach, man. There's not a lot you can say. Run meters was 656 to 125. Tackling percentage was 98 to 56. And that's the kind of thing. You start to fall off tackles that you might not ordinarily fall off when you're that far behind. It didn't start any better in the second half for Tonga. Pretty much straight from the kickoff. Josh Ioane comes on for Bowden Barrett, who has a bit of a rest in the second half. And the Tongan guys can't secure the ball from there. Bridge gets onto the ball and he gets it, and it's 59-0. They missed the conversion. It was looking good, that conversion, but it just seemed to fall short. 45 minutes, a maul try, and it's Matt Todd. They missed the conversion there at 64-0. And they mentioned it on the radio broadcast I was listening to as well. It's kind of nice that Matt Todd, Ryan Crotty, Kieran Reid, and Ben Smith, all these guys whose final game was in New Zealand for this one, they all scored tries. So if nothing else, there's a little bit of a farewell for those guys, which is nice. Adi Savia shows some gas. It's not long after Josh Ioane has had a big hit put on him as well. He had a couple of big hits put on him, but yep, that was 47 minutes. It's 71-0. George Bridge gets the hat trick. Tackling for that one was pretty poor. 78-0. Bridge gets another try. It's from a turnover. They gather the kick from Ioane, and it's 85-0. Then, not long later, the Tongans actually go on attack, and Jordie Barrett puts in a pretty good little piece of defence to kind of save a try, which shows a bit of commitment from those guys. 60 minutes, Lausi gets a yellow card for a hit on Ioane. The crowd booed that one because it was one of those ones where it seems like he's pretty committed. The ref, I think, called it clumsy from what I could hear on the radio. But, yeah, the crowd booed that because it was like, come on, man. The guys are already 70 or 80 points behind. So you're going to put them down to 10 men, really? But it was interesting because he gets yellow carded on 60. And we're looking at all these try times like 40, 41, 53, 57, 47, 46. Try. After 60 minutes, there's no try for a little while. So it seemed like there was a bit of a calming down period. I guess maybe that gave the Tongan guys a bit more resolve to tackle that bit harder. But either way, the tries dried up for a little while until Crotty went in for his second on 64 minutes. And it was from the AB scrum, pretty much walking right over the Tongan scrum, which was a 7-man scrum. But yeah, interestingly, it seemed like the Tongans, the All Blacks played with 14 men towards the end. I'm not sure what the guys on TV mentioned about it, but the guys on the radio mentioned it as well, that they were only playing with 14 towards the end. Not that they had a guy yellow carded or anything, the All Blacks, but they just didn't. But yeah, that's the last of the tries. So there was a final period which actually, I guess, went in Tonga's favour. Like the final 15 minutes, they won that period because they got the only try towards the end of the game. It was Piatau. He had a little spin move right before the line when it was 92 points to 0, and he made it 92 points to 7. So the crowd cheered really heartily for that try. I think all of us would have liked to seen a bit of a closer game. Like I said, it probably doesn't do either side that much good to have so much of a blowout. I mean, I'm sure it's nice for those guys to win by that much, but how much actual value does that add for the World Cup? I'm not sure. But yeah, 92 points to 7. That's the way it finished. Oh, I forgot to mention there was a aerial clash between Jordie Barrett and I think it was Fiver. They said there was no foul play in that one, so they just had a scrum to Tonga. I guess that's a pretty lenient one for the All Blacks, but I mean, Jordie Barrett did trip over Sevu Reece, so I guess that was a mitigating factor. So it did seem pretty nasty at the time, but Fiver thankfully got up without being injured. So yeah, hopefully all the players that played this game are good. I know a few of them got subbed pretty early. Hopefully some of that's just precautionary and whatnot. The full-time stats, I mean, the All Blacks had 1,000 run meters, 1,100, which is pretty rare. Tonga had 255. All Blacks had more possession, more territory, which is, well, actually, slightly less territory, 49, but more possession, 52. Tackling stayed at pretty high numbers, 92% for the All Blacks. Tonga went up a bit, probably with that phase towards the end, but it was only at 60%, which is not good. The All Blacks did concede 8 penalties, and Tonga was pretty good at the breakdown at times, which is, again, if you're looking for bright sides, that's one of them. Tonga conceded 5 penalties, but yeah, overall, it was a pretty one-sided game. I really do hope Tonga can bounce back from this going into the World Cup. Hopefully it doesn't do these guys too much harm. I mean, it is the All Blacks at home, and it is always tough, but anytime you're going to ship that many points. To be honest, it looked like they were going to ship 100, because 65 minutes, they're only 2 scores away from going to 100 points, and it looked like they would. When I talked to my dad, he said that the All Blacks led up at the end as to not embarrass them, but I'm not sure if 100 points is the marker for that. I'm not sure if the All Blacks just let some errors slip in or what, but I am glad the Tonga guys got a try. As I said, hopefully they can step it up at the World Cup. All Blacks guys, I can't imagine they'll be getting many scorelines like this at the World Cup, but then again, in the pool games, you never know what's going to happen. It's a big mixture of guys who are full-time professionals and otherwise, but yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the game. As I said, I was watching it at the ground, so you probably have a few more perspectives than me from what you've seen on the TV. Thank you to Johnny for letting me park at his place in Hamilton. It was a very convenient spot to park at, right near the ground, so I didn't have to worry about finding a park and all that jazz, because Hamilton was pretty chocker full of people. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.